Yours.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Again, guys, appreciate you guys taking time out today. So what I'm going to go over today is I'm going to go over our nickel pressures. I'm going to go over some of our 3-4 stuff that unfortunately, we're going to implement this spring, but obviously with everything going on, we're not, we got to do it through like how we're doing here through Zoom, meet with our kids and, things like that. So just a little background on myself. I'll be entering my 21st year coaching high school football. I'm at Palmetto Ridge High School in Naples, Florida. This will be my third season. I was at Gulf Coast High School for 3 years prior to moving down here from New Jersey. I do have the book out, The Right Defense for Your Program. I'm going to be getting volume 2 out by June 15th. And then I just, this morning, actually just published a course on CoachTube, which has a lot of the presentations and documents that we use, sample game sheets, things along those lines. So you guys can check that out too. And obviously, if you guys have any questions on that, feel free to contact me through Twitter. So I'll go ahead and get this rolling. Hey, look, turn it down, buddy. Oh, you guys are dealing with this. I got Despicable Me going on in the background here. So, okay. So this is what we're going to be. This is what we're going to be going over to start. That's my Twitter contact information. So if any of you guys want to follow me, DM me, or you guys need anything like that, please let me know. I think he's in here. My DB coach, Nick Citro's in here. One of the main reasons we're going to 3-4, Coach Citro played for me in New Jersey. He's a phenomenal defensive mind. If you guys reach out to him too, he's got some really, really good stuff. And you guys can follow him on Twitter and hit him up. He did a great job putting our playbook together. So I'd be remiss to not mention Coach and the tremendous job that he's done for us since coming down here last year. Okay, so first I just want to talk about the base of what we're going to do and how we're going to line up. Our nickel package is going to be out of a 2-down look. So, we're going to have only 2 defensive linemen in. And again, it's not going to be something that we're going to sit in a base. I mean, if we're in our nickel package, we're going to get after people. The one thing we're going to talk about today is our weather family. And one thing I can suggest, and, we've met, with a couple college coaches defensively over the last couple of weeks, which I'm sure everybody has. But why are we doing certain things? And basically, curtail it to your personnel, and then how you guys are going to be successful doing it. So we're basically what we're going to do in our 3-down and our 2-down stuff is we're going to play coverage to if we were going to sit in it, if we weren't going to come after people. We're going to play coverage to the passing strength, probably play some combination coverage, man, probably to the backside. But I just want to show you guys, we have our 2-down linemen. We have our anchor and our jack. Our anchor technically will be more of the athletic type as far as someone that can, rush the passer and play in space. Our jack will be more of a thicker kid. Then we have our Mike and our Will. And then obviously our Vipers are someone that can play in space. And then we have our, our corners and our safeties. This is how we align to pro nickel. 11 personnel. Again, we're not going to sit in this, but I just want to give you guys an idea. If you wanted to use it for something out of a base look, we don't have really big kids down here, so we're gonna tend to use 2 techniques and move. We don't have a traditional 3 technique, so we're going to use our speed and our quickest. We got 11 kids that can run, so we'll have a 3-4 package, which I'll go over a little bit of it in a little while. We'll have our 2-down, and we'll have our delta package, which will be our 1-down. Package, and we'll have 10 athletes on the field, coming after people. This is just how, alignment to pro wing, for us with a cloud corner, and obviously playing some type of palms or quarters over here, being 3/2. Okay, so I kind of mentioned a few seconds ago about meeting with these different colleges and kind of picking their brain, and Coach Brown at Michigan and Coach Sandler at Nebraska, Coach Leonard at Wisconsin, a couple of other guys, Coach Patake from Miami, and kind of picking their brain as to how they use their pressure package. They're very family based. So it's, we're big into calling things, one-word calls and, trying to get the kids to, play fast, obviously. This is going to be our weather package. So the kids are going to know based on what call. So we're going to have rain, we're going to have lightning, we're going to have thunder. So the kids know that, obviously we don't have to call nickel because they know what package that we're in, but they're going to know with rain where to line up, and I'll go through the alignments and, why we're doing this and when you can run this. And then, obviously, the coverage is going to be set by the secondary. We like to give our kids a little bit of freedom as far as, they're going to know based on how we do our walkthrough during practice, how we're going to line up, and then, what we're going to attack and what our rules are. So for us, rain, this is actually good against the run or the pass, for us, to be honest with you. There's a couple rules with this. You want to set the overload away from the strength. So in this case, we're running this against 11 in this slide. So we're going to set our overload here with our jack, our end, and our viper to get them to overload the protection to this side. Now again, it's a simulated pressure. If you take a look at it, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. All right, and we're only rushing 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay, so we're not sacrificing coverage for pressure, but it's giving the illusion that we're overloading to the weak side, and that's kind of why I like it. And then obviously when we met as a coaching staff, why we want to implement it. So we're going to have our end's going to be our first guy to go. He's going to be our getting the A gap and working through the guard. We really want to occupy space. The jack, he's going to be the second wrapper. All right. Obviously, we got the anchor coming hot, the end coming hot. Blitz contain. Our Mike, his rule is he's going to have number 2 if he's up or in. If he goes out, he's going into that trap corner. So you're going to play trap away from the overload side, and you're going to play cover 2 combination to the overload side. Okay. Your will here, his rule is the B gap, which is open here, to number 3 to the hole. Okay. And the coaching point for that will is if there's speed at 3, he really can't hold that look that long. So if we were to get motion to this, trips here, and this guy can move, he's not going to stay over the center. I mean, he's going to detach so he can get to number 3 vertical. Okay. Obviously in this set, he can kind of hang, check the B gap, and then become the hole player here. The Viper, obviously he's going to show if he's moving, if he's going to drop into the hook to curl into the boundary, he doesn't want to get a whole lot of width because he has this corner, this Tampa corner sitting outside of him. Obviously if he's going to the field, he needs to expand a little bit. We're playing trap here, obviously, but again, I think it's a good pressure. It can work well against gap schemes, work well against wing T teams. I ran it last night in the chalkboard that we did. So it's pretty effective. But again, it's, why are you running it? We're very, formational based, tendency based. So like I said, it's just a matter of how you want to implement this. But again, the key rule here is for this will is that he has to, if there's speed at 3, that look doesn't matter anymore. He's got to get out and he's got to go. Okay. So that's the one coaching point you want to make to these guys. And again, for your Mike here, if 2 is up or in, he has to help carry 2 vertical and across. But if 2 goes out, let him go because he's running right into that trap corner.
Hey, Coach, question. It was just asked if those are in the book.
These are not. These are actually up on the Coach Tube I just published. They're actually, there will be in the second book though. Okay. This is Thunder for us. So this is a boundary corner pressure. And you can run it a couple different ways. So what we're showing here is that we're getting the anchor. We're getting the anchor to go, inside and be a C gap player. All right. The Mike is checking the B gap first, obviously. And he's working to that half of the what's up, Coach?
I was just asked, what's the backside coverage on this?
For the Thunder pressure or for the one we just went over?
I believe the one we just went over.
Let's take a look. Okay. So we're going to play trap here. And then we're going to play, you can play Tampa, you can play 2 read. It's really up to you. I mean, you're going to be 3/2 anyway. So it's really up to your scheme and your schematics and what you want to do. I would like to play a Tampa coverage because I like to take the hot throws away. But that's up to you guys and what you want to do. So back to Thunder. All right, so if you're getting, hitching the boundary, you're getting run into the boundary, we're sending the corner. The anchor is going to become a C-gap defender. The Mike's going to check B-gap. He's then going to help out on any kind of pass into the boundary. We have the safety coming over to trap. And again, we're going to send the will. We're going to go 3/2 here. All right. The one thing that we have to understand here is if we do get motion to trips, all right, we're going to have some kind of check where this guy, the Viper, is going to have 3 control. And then you have to make your coverage adjustment to the backside here, whether you're going to play palms or, whatever you're going to do. One adjustment you can make is send the anchor upfield to get that guy moving and then bring the corner in underneath. But this was a really effective blitz out of 3-down stuff. When I was a head coach for the U17 Japanese team this past January, you guys can get that game on YouTube. Literally, you can YouTube 2020 International Bowl, U17 Japan, and you can see this blitz out of the 3-down. Again, only running it from the boundary. Okay, only running from the boundary. All right, so this for us, again, is nickel thunder. All right, here's a 6-man pressure. So here's lightning. All right, here's our lightning pressure. You guys can see we're moving from the field to the boundary. We're locking the backside. All right, we're playing a version of trap, getting that boundary safety over the half of the field. We're getting that jack to get a wide rush to bring that tackle out, because generally that's the Bob side or the man side, and we're going to send the will in the A gap and the jack, the Viper through the B gap. All right, but again, you're going to lock man side. So here you have rain where you can run middle of the field, you can run, boundary, to the field, whatever you want to do. Thunder and lightning, they're designated boundary and field. Okay, so Thunder's your boundary corner blitz. All right, field is going to be but for us, it's the Viper in our nickel package. For you guys in a 3-down, could be somebody else, could be a safety, could be an outside backer type. Again, it's up to you how you guys want to do that. All right, so those are 3 pretty good. And again, it's family oriented. So you can say to your kids, hey, we're going to run the weather family. Okay, when we met with Nebraska, a lot of their stuff was quarterback based, things along those lines. So it's just what your kids can remember, especially if you're seeing an up-tempo offense that doesn't allow you to substitute. One-word stuff is really, really effective, for you guys. So those are the 3 nickel pressures that we're gonna implement, coming in the fall. Okay. Again, so now we're gonna talk about our 3-4 stuff. We have 4 fronts out of our 3-4. When we met as a coaching staff, we talked about, what was going to be the easiest way to implement this stuff. I'd never been a 3-down guy. I've been a 3-down guy for pressure packages, but never out of our base. Our personnel this year dictates that we really need to be a 3-down team because, we're losing 3 pretty good ones, and we don't have a whole lot coming up. We're kind of back-end loaded. So like I said before in the introduction, Coach Citros had a lot of experience with this, our defensive backs coach. So he kind of spearheaded the move to this and what we're doing. So we came up with an idea of, hey, we're just going to have AFC East teams be our front. So for us, Bills is going to be our base. So we're going to be a 0 and 2 5s. We have, again, obviously our anchors attached because we're showing this out of 11 personnel. Our Viper is going to be apex in between the tackle and number 2. And like I stated before, we're going to play coverage to the passing strength. We're going to play switch, which is going to be our man version away from the passing strength. So again, if you're going to get a team that's going to run a lot of zone and gap scheme to that tight end, you're going to have that safety and that run fit fairly quickly. All right. So again, to the passing strength could be palms, whatever we're going to do that week. But again, Bills for us is a 0 and 2 5s. Okay. When we met with the University of Georgia, one of the coaching points they made it in their 3-4 is that anytime you get 2-by-2, you want to have one of your inside guys be your 4th rusher. So for us, we talked about, and again, Coach was pretty instrumental in coming up with this stuff. Is how are we going to attack that fourth rusher? So for us, if we want to send the Mike, so for us for Bills, if we want to send the Mike in the C gap, it would be Mick, Mob in the B gap, and then obviously Mash would be going in that backside A gap, and then having that nose, the nose cross face. So that way we're keeping the support, the outside defenders, the force defenders, keeping their integrity. So our anchor and our viper are still intact. So again, it just depends on where you want to send your Mike. What are you seeing out of this formation? But this is 3 ways or 3 different pressures you can get just out of the Bills front for the Mike. So again, Mick, Mob, and Mash, C gap, B gap, and then the backside A gap. For the Will, if you want to send your Will, Whack, Will in the C, Webb, Will in the B, and then Water, the backside A with, again, the nose cross. And so out of the Bills front, really just came up with 6 different pressures, and you're really not changing anything for your guys other than an end moving or a nose moving. You're keeping that box, that support system, that those force defenders, still intact. And again, as we get into the season, and then we start installing and building our packages, this stuff will help out in our Delta stuff, or our 1-down stuff. But again, we took the University of Georgia stuff and said, okay, they're talking about keeping their support and their system with their run support intact. So we need to send an inside guy. And which way can we do that? And Coach Citro came up and said, hey, we can do this, this, and this. And like I said, he has experience at the college level, so I was all for that, allowing him to come in and do that. So sending the Mike and sending the Will. Yes, Coach.
Does the D end know to stunt to another gap when you call a C gap linebacker stunt?
Yes. Yeah. So that'll be an automatic when he hears that. We may use a rock and laser call if it's the left end. We'll use Roy and Lee too, and I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, if we have guys that can understand, hey, if it's a whack call, that end's got to know that he's going in the B gap. So it just depends on how your guys coach can communicate that and you as a coaching staff, if you trust your guys to implement that. Yes, sir.
A couple more here, Coach.
Yep.
Why do you want to add a 4th rusher versus 2x2?
For us, it's when we sat down with Georgia, they basically said, like, unless you have 3 dudes, 3 guys that you really trust in a run game, and what it does from a defensive perspective is it messes with the offense. So you can get a run pressure also, and it could double as a pass pressure depending on down and distance and when you're sending it.
And who becomes responsible for B gap when you call Water?
That's going to be the Viper. The Viper's going to check, and then obviously too, it depends with your mic. You might have your mic double read that as well. Depending on what you want to do. So again, I hope that helps. Water, you could also too, Coach. You could also have your end pinch the B gap as well, because you have the Viper sitting outside too, if you don't want him being the fullback player. So our 0 and 2-4 eyes for us would be Pats. So that's just if you wanted to line up, when I get through the presentation, if you guys wanted to talk about stemming to things, like today we're going to line up in Bills, but we're going to stem to Pats, or I'm going to get to Jets is an underfront, so we have Bills, which is our base, Pats, which is our 0-2-4 eyes. Now you're in Jets, so you could say, hey, listen, we're going to start out, and then depending on what the offense is doing and what you're seeing, like some coaches like to call the play with 9 seconds left to go on the play clock. So you tell your linebacker that you're gonna yell move with 11 seconds left, when you see the quarterback's hands twice, or whatever you guys want to do. But again, for us, getting into the last front, Fins is going to be just our over front. So we have Bills, which is our 0 and 2 5s, and then we went through the different pressures with the Mike and the Will, and then we have our Pats, then we have our Jets, which is under, and then we have Fins, which is over. So you can, when you install that or implement that, now you can really mess with the offense because you can stem, every drive, depending on what you want to plan on, for that game. So I think this is going to be great for us. It's going to give us a lot of flexibility in what we want to do and just based on our personnel, how we want to run things. But our two outside guys are going to be pretty good. We got two pretty athletic kids. We're going to be young up front on the defensive line, but I think the kids that are going to be there are going to be able to handle this stuff. But again, take what we're giving you and implement it into the personnel that you guys want to use. All right. Now, how to add a fourth rusher to the from one of your outside guys. Okay. So this for us, I know it says Delta, but we'll talk about it out of our 3-4. This for us would be Rutgers. So for us, Rutgers means that the right outside linebacker is going to become that contained rusher. So he's going to make a lead call, basically alerting the defensive line that all three of them are moving left. Now the X, and we can run the X combination where now it'd be Rutgers X with the Lee, and that this end now becomes, outside. These two guys are still going left, and the Viper's now coming underneath the end who's going upfield as opposed to the end going in the B gap with the Viper coming off the edge. And then obviously you can still play some type of coverage behind it, but your anchor and your Viper have to detach from the box because, in this picture we are seeing, 10 personnel. But again, Rutgers is the right outside guy becoming that fourth rusher. And for us, Louisville, all right, Louisville, the left outside linebacker, he's coming. And again, it would be a Roy call for us. Roy meaning that these guys are moving right. If we want to run the X stunt, we're going to send this guy high and then, bring him underneath. But there's a lot to this. And like I said, this is something that we feel really good about, going into the 2020 season with the personnel that we have. So again, with the nickel stuff, with the 3-down stuff, I really feel, fairly confident that, we're going to be able to, obviously be very multiple with what we're doing. And again, if you guys don't have the guys up front to sit in certain things, it's always good to have those options for them to move and stem and, things along those lines. But I feel really good about this. And, like I said, Coach Citro, he has a bunch of stuff on this. You guys want to get with him too. He'd be a great guy to Zoom with and talk about this stuff. He's real successful. Both of us had the opportunity to work with a guy who played in the NFL for 12 years for the Saints and the Seahawks. So a lot of this stuff comes from him, and it's a really good really good thing. I think we're going to be real successful with this stuff upcoming this year. Coach G, we got any questions from anybody?
One just popped up right when you said that.
Oh, cool.
We also have a system to call these stunts to the field and boundary, strong and weak, or to and away from the running back.
Okay. So, I mean, we do have some stuff out of our 4-down that we used last year. I think, Coach, that was one of the first times I was on with you.
Yeah.
Talked about the 4-down stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we want to come, from, to the running back for us, we made it real simple. It was Bama and Panther. So Bama alerted the pressure to the back. Panther alerted it to the passing strength. And again, I like it because it's just one word. It was an overload for us. We're going to build off these pressures with Rutgers and Louisville. Obviously as we get more into our install and things like that. But like I said, I think just to answer that question, I would say if you want to come from the back, make it easy. Like Bama and Panther was great for us. Our kids knew right away, where they were lining up and where they were going. The only thing is the inside linebackers have to tell the linemen where they're going. Us as coaches, we just want to make the call, and just get them set up. So, Coach, I hope that helped. And Coach, whoever asked that question, if they, if they want that presentation, I got it for them, and I just put it up on the coach tube as well, all the 2, 3, and 4 down stuff that I did with you previously, and a little bit more.
Awesome. Yeah, coach can definitely reach out to you. Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, and once again, coach did a previous talk on it. You could even go back and watch that.
It's on the drive.
Yeah, it's on the drive.
The drive.
Shoot, man, crazy, coach. Did you want to share your contact information again?
Yes, I will. Yep, I'll go back to that slide here. I think it's 2. Yeah. So guys, that's my Twitter. If you guys want to follow me and DM me, and then obviously the first book is out. It's been out for 4 weeks. The coach tube just went up today, and then the second book will be out June 15th. The second book is going to be more schematically based. It'll be the nickel stuff. It'll be the 3-4 stuff. It'll be tackling and turnover stuff that we do in practice. It's going to be planning as a coordinator, like for the week. So it'll be I contact a couple of guys that I'm friends with that are going to contribute to the book. So from like film session on the weekend to Friday night, and then there's going to be defending empty is going to be a chapter as well, and also to keeping on the building relationships with the kids and building a culture. So I got a couple coaches that contribute to that as well. That way you guys don't have to listen to me over and over again. You can listen to some different guys talk. But yeah, definitely reach out if you guys need anything. And obviously too, Coach Citro, if you guys reach out to him, he's a really good resource as well for this odd stuff. He's got some really, really good stuff that he's brought with him down to us. So he's another good resource to hit up too.
No doubt. And he also did a talk on the clinic too. So if you go back to the drive, he's on there as well. But does anybody else have any questions? Feel free to jump in on anything, even if maybe it was something that coach didn't cover right now. I mean, I'm sure he'd be willing to answer whatever. So if anybody has anything, drop it in there. If not, you see his Twitter handle on there. If you guys want to follow up with him afterwards, once again, definitely check out his course on Coach that they just put up. I retweeted it earlier, so you guys can check it on my page as well. So definitely appreciate him for coming back on and giving so much to us coaches, man, over the last 6-7 weeks. Are you more zone or man based?
We're going to be traditionally. I've been really like on first downs. I've really been more zone, and then obviously I like the pressures. I like to get after people. For me, I think it just depends on the personnel that we have. Like we're fortunate to have a lot of really athletic kids that can play in a man type thing. So I would say we're going to be a little bit more man based this year, as opposed to being years in the past, because we were so back end loaded. But I've had years where when I was at Gulf Coast, we just didn't have the guys to play man cover, so we had to be more zone combo stuff. So. But yeah, this year will definitely be a little bit more man-based than what we do schematically.
That's a good question. Good question. Anybody else? Any other questions? And how are you communicating your calls? Are you using hand signals?
Yeah, for the most part. So basically, what we'll do is, I'll call the personnel and the pressure, and then Coach Citro will help. He'll be helping out with the coverage call. So he's on the field with me. So I kind of handle the front seven. He kind of handles the back end. So I suggest that. I think it's great because it shows the kids that you're on the same page too, which really helps. When you get into like adverse situations. But yeah, I try to use hand signals, and we used wristbands a little bit last year. I gave our free safety one and our middle linebacker one, and just kind of use numbers and switch the cards at halftime. So it just depends on, what type of kids you have and how much you want to put on their plate.
Good question. Let's see. Anybody else? Any other questions? I think we're good, Coach. Appreciate you. Man. Appreciate you coming. Another one just came in. Would your one more? Okay. Would your one word call indicate coverage as well?
We'd like it to. We'd like it to. With the nickel stuff, when we do our walkthrough. I think we're going to let the kids know what we want to play. Obviously, if we're going to run it to 11 personnel and we get motion, or it's 10 personnel and they're 2x2, they motion a 3x1, we'll go through our checks. So we ultimately, coach, yes, in a perfect world, we'd love it just say rain and they know what they're doing. But again, they're 16 and 17-year-old kids. And when I got into coaching, my head coach said, you're going to lose your mind because you're putting your livelihood in the hands of 15, 16, and 17-year-olds. So you're going to have a lot of gray hair a lot faster. Ultimately, yes, but we're probably going to help them out at the end of the day.
What chapter in your book deals with trap coverage?
Chapter 3, the 3 safety RPO chapter, deals with how we ran trap coverage. But coach, like I said too, you can literally YouTube the game if you want a visual reference. I do put some diagrams in there, but if you want to see it, YouTube 2020 International Bowl and U17 Japan. And unfortunately it's on ESPN3, so it's not chopped up, but you can get a visual as well. But chapter 3 will deal with it.
Advantages and disadvantages of using over or under fronts versus 11 personnel pro set.
I think it depends on what you're seeing. I like the under front. I think that's a hard front to block when you're 3-5 to the backside. I think it really gives people problems. And then you could be a 9-5 and generally a 2-eye if they're in the gun. So I think I like the under front. Over front, I'm a 4-3 guy by trade when I first started coaching. So I tend to pressure more out of an over than I would with an under, because I think, and again, our under front, we'll start in 2s and then we'll move. We won't have our guys sit in the 3 or the shade, or the 3 and the 2-eye, because we just don't have the guys and we don't want to give guys angles to do that. But I like the under front as opposed to the over front.
Any in a 3-4 front, any tips for going against a wing T?
It's funny because Just, we were talking about, before I came on, I did the chalk war against Coach Simpson last night at Arkansas. He's big. He's awesome wing team, man. That guy's good. I would say with the 3-4, you want to be multiple. So I think like the 4 fronts, I would stem on those guys because, they're going to have, just like with the triple option and the split back veer, they're going to have rules for, hey, if I have a guy here or I have a guy here. And I think pressure messes with them too, because they do have definitive rules based on where you're lined up. Like if you give them a 3-5 to the quick side, the 2-man side, and they want to run that 30 series belly, they're going to automatically just cross block that thing. So, but if you give them something and you move, now they got to think on the run, and generally high school kids, for the most part, they'll short circuit and you'll end up getting something going on. So, Coach, I would say be as multiple as you can as what your kids can handle. And I would definitely stem against the wing T out of the 3-4.
How do you decide if you're going to go 4 down or 3 down?
For me, it's in the past, we had a lot of pressure packages out of our 4 down stuff, and then obviously change to the 3 down. This year, our 4 down, quote unquote, will be our nickel package, which in hindsight will actually only be 2 down linemen. So for us, it's going to be, down and distance based, so like 3rd and 7, 2nd and 7 plus, and then depending on if we were going to see like a hardcore tunnel screen team and, how we're going to handle that and things like that. So I would say down and distance for us, Coach, this year definitely is going to play a big part, is, when we're going to be in our 3-4 as opposed to our nickel front.
For sure. What is the determining factor for you in deciding to pressure a blitz?
I want to make the quarterback miserable, man. To be honest with you, I want to make it. I want to make it so hard on that offensive coordinator and that quarterback. I want them to have night terrors late Friday night. I want them waking up in a sweat. Also, too, during the week, I think we've been in the past out of our 4 down stuff, we had 15 pressures out of our double A gap look. And the one thing about that is it's like, as an offense, and Coach G, you can test that as an offensive coordinator. I mean, shoot, man, you see the same look, but you have to get ready for 15 different things.
Yeah,
that's gonna take some time, and I think, to me, it's always flipping the script on the offensive guys, because some guys want to give you a million different formations and take time out of your practice. Well, now by week 6 or 7, we have 15 pressures out of double A gap look. So you got to get ready for all of them. So I think for me, it's just what pressure is going to work the best. And then, I've always been an overload guy too. I've always been a guy that wants to overload a side and really make guys, try to free our best guys up, if that makes sense.
In your double A gap look, do you bring both A gap guys? And if you do, who do you drop?
In our double A gap look, the two that we actually have 3. We have Clemson, we have Jump, and we have Bull. So Clemson for us is just firing the A gaps for the inside backers. We don't drop anybody, so we're either playing cover 0 or cover 1. And then they'll cross, so they'll fire. Jump is basically what it sounds like. The 2 techniques will pinch the A gaps. The backers will jump around into the B gaps. And then Bull for us is we get pinched by the D line, and those backers will wrap and become the C gap defenders. I like it a lot. Obviously, I'd rather do it against 10 personnel as opposed to 11 personnel because you have to worry about that extra gap. But our Blue Jay blitz will drop both inside backers, and then our ends become the flat defenders, and we'll send the Viper and the strong safety off the edge, and we'll play our press bail 3 coverage. So, I mean, that give you another option.
Do you find that the OCs you play call against your scheme or calls, or they just wing it with what they do? And do they adjust in time to your multiple looks?
I think they do. I think we give so much pressure looks. I think at sometimes it really with the RPO stuff, we're making them hand the ball off, or we're forcing them into a bad throw. We see really good coaches down here and guys that, do their film study and things like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's up to our kids to make plays. You could have the perfect blitz call, but if a kid doesn't make a play or blows a coverage, I mean, you're giving up a big play. So they do a pretty good job adjusting to what we're doing. But I think what we do is we will get at least one guy free to the quarterback or in the backfield just because of schematically what we're doing.
What zone do you prefer to burn when you play cover 1?
Man, I'd rather not burn any, but in our Clemson Jump and our Bull stuff, we're gonna burn that middle part of the field, just because we're sending 6 and they got 5 to block us. So like I said, it's risk reward, right? I mean, you can't have the best of both worlds. So you have to know what you're getting into at the end of the day. You can't half-ass pressure. You're either in or you're out. So, I think you have to be willing to understand what you're going to give up. But, when you're teaching your guys their techniques of their man coverage and understanding, what they're going to give up, like we all know in cover 3, like that speed out is something that we're going to give up, right? In our cover 1 stuff, when we're sending the 2 inside backers, we're going to give up that middle of the field, not so much the post because we got the free safety in the middle of it, but we're going to burn that, that intermediate crossing area.
In your weekly prep, do you put a lot of focus on the offense's top 5 runs and passes or something else?
So we'll look at, when we meet, we'll put all the formations on the board and we'll obviously with huddle now, it's not like back in the old days when you had to handwrite everything and, we were the huddle, back in the day. Right. And we'll look at, I'm always been like, all right, what do they like out of formations and what do they like out of downs? So my call sheet will have the down and distance color coded, and I'll have their top run and pass plays, and I'll have run pass percentage for 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 2nd and 5, 2nd and short, 3rd and long, 3rd and medium, 3rd and short, 4th down, and then any kind of trick plays and then stuff like that. So I'm a very formational tendency heavy play caller. And then, obviously, we'll get into the down and distance stuff and percentages, when we get into that situation in the game.
Are you a peel back guy?
Sometimes. I think it depends on the personnel you have.
When you play with free safety, does he play center field? Does he help weak cover guy? And could you have him play the zone you're burning?
Our free safety generally is a middle of the field guy. So if we're going to, we want to play some type of cover 3 to 3-by-1 or cloud with the corner, we're going to lock that backside corner and backer. They really don't help per se, unless we're kind of bracketing somebody. I tend to not give kids too much. My hope is that the pressure gets there before we get beaten. I always tell the secondary that, I'd rather see you guys get a 15-yard penalty to give up 6. So if you're beat, pull the guy down.
Anybody else? Any other questions? A lot of good questions came in.
Yeah, it was good, man.
Absolutely. That's what Coach looks for, though. He likes getting put on the spot, man. Just hitting with the questions, man.
I love it.
Anybody else? See if anything else comes up. And of course, guys, you have his Twitter there. So if you guys something else comes up, or you want to chat about something else, man, just hit him up. Coach obviously will reach back out to you and answer whatever you guys have. I think we're good, Coach.
All right, man.
Appreciate all the coaches, man. Appreciate all you coaches for coming in, just tuning in and being supportive of, this platform and all the coaches who take the time out to come and present, man. And of course, Coach Gibbs, man, for giving us multiple sessions on this thing and always does a great job. And appreciate you just coming in and put you under the fire a little bit with all those questions. They just started coming at you a little bit. That was good stuff, though. That's hey, honestly, man, a lot of these coaches definitely enjoy that. Why not? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think you get a lot more out of it. Obviously it's great to see the diagrams and the visuals and stuff, but if something like that just pops in your head, I think it's good that we're able to do this.
No doubt.
Form situation, and because everybody's dealing with different stuff and different offenses and personnel and everything. So I think it's great. I think it's great for all that stuff.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It makes for a really good session. And, especially towards the end after, presentation, goes on and you guys just hit them with questions, man. It was great. So appreciate all you guys, man. And, once again, Coach, thank you. And obviously just like all the other ones, this will be on the drive once it's up, once we conclude, and we'll wrap up. We got one more at 3:00 and that'll wrap up the week, and that'll be week 7 in the books, y'all.
Boom.
So, that's how we roll. Hold on, Coach. You go on. Do you see that question that just came in?
No, let me grab it at the bottom here. Few goal line front. That's the one we just talked about?
Yeah, yep. That just came in.
All right. Coach, was that Coach Harvey? Let me get on the screen share here. Pop this up again. All right, get out of this. Let me see if this will let me get out of it. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Dad.
How you doing? Good. Coach, so we like our, I don't know why I can't get into it, but goal line, we ran last year was our, actually, I got a whiteboard right here. I can show you. 6 whiteboards, Coach G, for $17.99 on Amazon, man.
Really? How big are they?
Little guys. It's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man. I got 6 of them. I'll just take it out. 11 personnel, Coach. Yeah. So we call this our Georgia pressure, Coach. I like this. It's out of kind of like a bastardized bear front. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our backer. We're going to lock him, put him in a 7 technique, lock him on that tight end. We got a wide 9. Both the Viper and the wide 9 have Peel rules. So if that back goes, they got to go with him. That end to the Viper side is just crushing that tackle. I mean, he's head up 4. Our tackles are in D tackles are in 2-2s, and they're going to B gaps, and we're just crossing that backer and safety. Straight 0. The corner's got 1, safety's got 2. If they're real tight, we'll banjo it, in and out it, whatever you guys call it. But we really, really effective pressure for us down by the goal line. It's you're overload, man. So, and you got edge pressure like right now. So it's you're going to force everything back into those 2 guys crossing. And you just got to work the peel with that 9, that wide 9 and that Viper. We actually got to pick off that in the goal line last year. That our Viper picked a wheel route up down in the red zone, and kid played out of his mind. That kid played out. That was the best game he's had in 2 years. That game we did that. So
That's awesome.
Hope that helped.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, y'all. We're going to wrap this one up. We'll see you guys back at 3. Hopefully everybody has a great day, man. Stay safe out there. And, Coach, once again, man, killed it.
All right, brother.
I'll see you.